So if you want a real practical step-by-step guide that you can follow to go from 0 to over 10,000 per month consistently with digital marketing or social media marketing, I'm going to walk you through that exact plan that I would follow today. So look, digital marketing, in my opinion, is the most accessible way to make really good money, but in a way where you actually learn real skills that can really just benefit you for whatever kind of business you want to run in the future. I got into digital marketing right after college when I had no jobs lined up. I started doing some freelance digital marketing work, and then I built my own marketing agency later on that year. That agency got to over 7 figures. We did over $1 million in revenue, and I eventually exited that to my business partner. Okay, and then from there, I've done a lot of mentorship and a lot of consulting with people that want to do this as well. And so what we find is that you don't need a degree, you don't need a big social media following, you don't have to post yourself online, and the demand is bananas, right? Let's be honest. When I started, it was pre-COVID times, so a lot of businesses were still brick and mortar, physical shops, physical locations, not really doing any online advertising, not really doing any online marketing, to be honest. So after COVID, there's been a shift. There's been just this surge of businesses coming into the space, and every business now that's started up, which by the way, there's over 100,000 new businesses started every single day across the world. Out of those, well, most of them, they understand, right? I need to do marketing. They know that the way to do marketing is now digital. It's online, it's on social media. So I'm not going to tell you that if you don't get in now, that you'll never have a chance again. But what I do know is that the demand is in such a good place that you should really try and capitalize on it now. So step 1 of the 0 to 10K per month with marketing, digital marketing, social media marketing, is to figure out what marketing service you will actually offer to the marketplace. You want to start with a service that's high in demand: social media management, content creation, paid advertising, email marketing, something along these lines. Inside of my program, we have a very high percentage of our students focus on content creation and social media management. We find, to be honest, it's the easiest to learn, but also it's a service that businesses need every single month. So you've got long-term predictability that if you make 5K this month, you'll make at least 5K next month. And lastly, what we find is that a lot of business owners that are looking for help with their content, with their social media, they want, of course, a return on investment, right? They want to get more leads, they want to get more customers, they want to make more money. But we find a lot of them, they're not using that as their main driver. Like, yes, that's a motive for them, but their main driver is they know they need to do it. Like, they just know they need to be on social media. And that's why when we compare it to something like paid advertising, it's easier, because with paid advertising, the second you don't get results, the second you spend money for your client and they don't get a return on that, they will leave. So this is a service that when business pay for, they typically stay for a very long time. Now, in this phase, you don't need to pick a niche. Okay, in the past, we would have been more specific about when you start that you would pick one niche, one industry, and focus in on that. However, the times have changed quite a bit. And right now, inside my program, we have a really high number of people within the program that are actually getting clients in all different industries. So they may have their 5 first clients all in different industries: a fitness coach, a gym, a cafe, and a couple of completely different businesses. I just wrapped up an interview with a guy, Sean, within our program that you'll see on my YouTube channel. He got 7 clients in 2 months, and pretty much all of them were in different industries. And that's kind of given him now just like this depth of knowledge of different industries and really knowing long-term which niche is going to be the best for him. Especially now we use Upwork to get quite a few clients. If you're familiar with Upwork, it's a marketplace, and because of that, businesses don't particularly tell you their niche or industry when they're posting jobs. They may just have a job that says they need a social media manager, and you don't really have the info as to what industry they're in before you apply. All right, so once you have your service dialed in, the next step is to set up your packages and really just understand how much money you're going to charge to businesses. And this, if you're just starting, is overwhelming. And you might think that you need every package in the world. Okay, so you need to have 20 options in case the business owner looks at what you offer and says, no, I want this specific thing. Look, the cold hard reality is that you normally only need a couple of packages. In fact, a lot of people within my program do custom packages. Okay, what this means is they will start off and they'll have 2 to 3 packages, kind of like standard template packages based on what we have seen there to be the most demand for. Okay, because we have the data to show what kind of packages, what kind of price range there's the most demand for, what exactly they need, what they want, what they don't want, and how much they're willing to pay. So we start with those, and then once we have those, we also then teach each of our students really just the understanding of how to price. Because look, if you're on a meeting with a business owner and what they've told you so far, you're thinking, whoa, this is completely different to my packages, right? They want a lot more content or a lot less, or they don't want me to post that much content on their Instagram, but they want me to manage a different platform, right? Well, then we need to make sure that you have that confidence to on the call be able to go, cool, John, give me 2 minutes here. I'm just going to run the numbers with our pricing calculator here, and I'm going to figure out the exact pricing of what you're looking for, right? And when you can do it together on the call, that's way, way better than ending that call and then them saying, hey, send me an email or send me a proposal, because 9 times out of 10, you'll never hear from them again. That's the reality. Now, with pricing, don't overthink it. All right, start lower. Okay, some people on YouTube will tell you the opposite, and they'll say, know your worth, charge high ticket from day one. I'm a very strong believer that you should start lower, right? Because it's easier to sell a $500 a month package versus a $2,000 a month package. It just is. It's also going to give you a bit more confidence, because if you're charging $2,000 a month, part of you is going to be overwhelmed. Part of you is going to think, whoa, like that's a lot of money. What if I mess up? And what if they leave a bad review? Whereas $500 a month, it's less, okay? So it's gonna just feel easier for you. And the goal here with your first few clients, of course, it's to make money, right? We all wanna make some money with this, but it's to get proof, it's to get testimonials, it's to get feedback. And that is priceless. So when you're crafting these packages, I would recommend, if you're gonna go with 3 packages, go for one package around $500 a month, one around $1,000 a month, and one around $1,500 a month. That's going to give you a nice broad range for those clients that don't have a big budget and those that are willing to spend a bit more. In terms of the deliverables should match what you have found business owners are looking for. So again, with my mentorship students, we give them exactly what we see. If you're doing this yourself, you're not getting mentorship, then look, you're going to have to go out there, take calls, speak to business owners, do the research, and figure out what they want. Now, step 3, of course, is then getting clients. Okay, you can have all the packages in the world, the best pricing, and everything looks super nice, but you need to know how to actually get clients, right? So I'm going to walk you through kind of the main ways that we recommend beginners get clients. So for most beginners, we recommend that they look at 2 different types of outreach. We look at cold outreach and what we call warm outreach. Warm outreach is, to be honest, much simpler, right? Because, for example, a platform like Upwork is going to have business owners posting jobs on the platform. So all the business owners actually want what you offer. You don't have to convince them of anything. You don't really have to, slide in their DMs to try and see if they want help with their social media. They're on there for a reason. They're posting a job because they want help. This really just makes the whole process quite easy, because it just means you're only speaking to business owners that are serious, that have a budget set aside for this, and that are willing to pay money for this. So Upwork is where we definitely want you to put quite a lot of your focus. The other part, cold outreach, is normally done through Instagram, email, or something like LinkedIn. Now, this typically works best if, where we previously looked at having a niche in an industry, if you actually do have a niche in an industry that you know a lot about. So if you're somebody that, for example, like my student Megan, okay, I have an interview with her on YouTube when she hit 10K per month. She started in the construction industry. And the reason being is her family come from a construction background. So she just knew a lot about it. She understood how people within the construction industry operate. She understood their business model. She understood where they normally get their leads from. And so that made it very easy for her, because she could speak their language. Whereas if you don't have that, then, cold outreach is going to be more tricky for you. And hence we would put way more focus on Upwork. No industry, no niche, just work with different clients and go from there. Now, step 4 of this process is to make sure that you can deliver. Okay, you don't make money in the short term with this. Yes, you make some money, right? Let's say a client pays you $500 a month. Okay, you make $500 this month, but really what you make is the long-term potential. Okay, you keep a $500 a month client for 12 months, you've made $6,000 from one client. You do that with 10 clients, you've made $60,000 that year, right? So the real money is made when you keep clients happy and you deliver a really good service. Now, if you're just starting, you have a few routes for this. You can do the full freelance route, which is you learn everything about social media management yourself, everything about digital marketing yourself, and you deliver the service. Now, that's going to take a lot of time, so you probably don't want to look at that route. For some people, this makes sense if you already have a pre-existing skill, but for most of you, that's not the case. So that's where you're going to look at route 2, which is what we call the hybrid route. So the hybrid route is essentially where if you get a client for social media management, you will do the social media management piece of posting the content to their page, but you'll have somebody create the content. Because the content creation piece is kind of the most technical part and is the part that takes the longest to get good at. So getting a graphic designer or a video editor is something we recommend you do. For example, a student of mine, Sean, that I just did an interview with, got 7 clients in 2 months on Upwork. So from 0 to over $5,000 per month for his business in 2 months. And we actually gave him a graphic designer so that he could just hire that person right away, and then he could do the hybrid route. So he could get clients in, get his designer to create content, and then him manage the social media page for the business. And the last route is the full agency route, where you hire people to do everything, to do the management, to do the strategy with clients, to create the content, absolutely everything. But to be honest, most people will start with a hybrid route, as it just makes the most sense. So that's when you start to then build your team. Long term, if you want to scale this into a multi-6-figure, 7-figure per year business, you will need to have a team, and you'll need to have lots of systems, which brings us really to point number 5. Systematizing your business and scaling. You see, getting to 6 figures, multi-6 figures, 7 figures a year with this kind of business, it's just not possible by yourself. There are the odd individuals that get to 6 figures a year just by themselves, doing everything themselves, but it's not that common. What's way more common is somebody that's following more of that hybrid or the fully agency route, getting freelancers, contractors, people to help them, where yes, your profit is going to take a hit. You might make 70% profit rather than 90 or 95, but it means that you can actually serve more clients and make more money overall. So you're going to start to build out systems for your outreach, making sure that if you're doing all the outreach yourself, all the Upwork proposals, that you can eventually step back from that and have somebody do it for you. The same goes, of course, for the social media management and the delivery of the exact service to the client, and even so far as getting client managers to speak to your clients. From my agency, when we went from the hybrid route, when we were doing around 10K a month, to then the full agency route, which got us to about 50,000 per month, we hired client managers. So essentially meant that if I had a call with a business and they signed up, that would be it. I would, of course, speak to them if I'd want to, but I would have people in place at every part of the journey to serve those clients at a really high level. So there you have it, folks. That is the roadmap, okay? Those are the key steps that you need to follow. Like anything, now you know what to do. You may need more information on the specifics of each of those points, and you may feel like you need help, like you need somebody to mentor you and guide you through every part of the process. If you do, I do mentorship. You can obviously reach out to me if you'd like to explore that. There's information in the description of the video as well if you want to check that out. And I really, truly do hope this has given you clarity and given you a bit of confidence as to how you can actually, very realistically, make 10K a month with digital marketing.